Well, welcome back to 7 Gateways to More Purpose and Joy. In this episode, we will be taking a look at the seventh and final gateway, sometimes known as the Creator. Now, if you recall from our very first video, I talked about how about 100 years ago, physics and quantum mechanics began making some rather strange predictions. They said that our energy and our perceptions could actually make literal changes in the world around us. And then as physics and technology progressed, they've actually been able to prove that this is true. And the newer, more powerful microscopes revealed that the most basic subatomic particles aren't particles at all, but tiny pockets of vibrating energy. The entire world, including us, is really just energy. Things are not as solid as we think they are. Well, in this episode, we will see how that quantum world actually becomes our experience. Hang on to your conceptual hats here. These ideas may seem a bit strange, but they bring a perspective that is characterized by great freedom and power. Now, as we discovered in the last episode, the outer ring of the energetic self-perception chart, which contains the 6th and 7th gateways, it brings a radical change to our experience when compared with the other levels. As the words self-transcendence imply, we moved to a perspective in which our self is no longer central to our worldview. At level 6, the boundary between us and the rest of the world became quite fluid. And at this 7th level, that boundary is virtually non-existent. We understand that the separateness we sense in the lower levels is simply an illusion. And our experiences aren't real in the way we usually understand that word, because we know that our experiences are creations of our perceptions. We move easily between seeing ourselves as a unique expression of the universe to being an observer of both the universe and ourselves. We've transcended ego altogether, and at this level, we can simultaneously observe and experience life. We identify not as an individual expression of life, but as the consciousness of life itself. At the catabolic levels, we felt constantly in need. Our entire perspective was rooted in a scarcity mentality. At gateways 3 through 5, we no longer felt controlled by need, and instead, we were able to experience abundance through the mastery of the outer world by having. But by the time we've reached this 7th gateway, we have moved past having and into merely being. The focus of our experience is now firmly in the present moment. We simply are. We've also moved past having no faith, even in ourselves, and past outer faith that the world in which we live is basically safe, to a place in which we simply know our inner experience is all that really matters. It's no longer about trusting ourselves or others. It's about knowing that our inner experience is sufficient. The 7th gateway has the highest level of anabolic energy. The core thought is non-judgment. We no longer see anything as good or bad. Everything simply is as it is. Often we hear people say, well, it is what it is. And the vast majority of the case, that comment comes from a level 3 perspective. It's a rationalization that allows us to release the catabolic energy so that we can move on. However, there's still a lot of judgment hidden in that perspective, and the evidence of it shows up really in the tone of voice. Well, it is what it is, which implies that it's not how it's supposed to be. It's not as it should be, that there's something wrong and there's nothing we can do to fix it. But from a level 7 perspective, nothing should be different than what it is. There's nothing wrong. In fact, wrong doesn't even exist. and neither does right for that matter. Everything simply just is. Now, this can be a somewhat difficult concept to wrap our heads around, particularly if we are coming from one of the lower levels of energy. But as we decrease the amount of catabolic energy we experience and increase the amount of anabolic energy, this complete non-judgment begins to make more and more sense. So when one experiences level 7 and the core thought of non-judgment, the core emotion is absolute passion, meaning we are passionate about everything in life. Cleaning up after our dog carries the same passionate energy as winning the lottery or a Nobel Prize. It's all a perfect chance to experience life in this physical plane. The core result of level 7 is creation. We become masters of using the ideas of quantum mechanics. We know that our perceptions create the world. And since we are able to choose our perceptions, we are able to co-create the life experience that we want. And that's really what law of attraction says. Law of attraction basically says that like attracts like, that whatever energy we put out into the world, the universe brings us more of that energy. Like attracts like. So using these principles, we are able to create the experience that we want in our world. We become masters of creation. And at the 7th gateway, we are able to consciously create, experience, and observe life all at the same time. The 7th gateway is characterized by completely objective thinking, total non-judgment, and fearlessness. With level 7 energy, leaders are capable of viewing the world and their organizations with complete objectivity. At this level, it is understood that winning and losing are illusions. They're just terms that humans have created to help us play this game of life by the rules that we also created. People with a lot of level 7 energy are pioneers and can create something from nothing. They are completely passionate about all aspects of life. And because they feel intimately connected to everyone, and they don't feel much of a need to share their lives with any one individual, they can sometimes be seen by others, particularly those who are experiencing lower energy levels, as a bit aloof and maybe even uncaring. But when they do have a partner, they are unconditionally loving and completely accepting of that person. Now, no human resonates completely at this level all of the time, but everyone can access it. And the master at this 7th gateway, they are able to consciously choose to respond using any energy level they want. And this is where it gets interesting, because when we can consciously choose a response, we of course are no longer reacting unconsciously. And this conscious choice turns every gateway into an anabolic energy gateway, even the lowest ones. This is how you can see that becoming a master of this 7th level brings great freedom and power. Now, of course, there are advantages and disadvantages, just like with all the other levels. And the advantage, of course, at the 7th level is that you can create anything you want, whenever you want, and as quickly as you believe. You are really connected to the universal energy, source, God, however you want to describe that. The disadvantage, if there is one, is that, at least from this human physical perspective, there's much less emotional drama because we don't really see anything as real. The other disadvantage, of course, is that other people may experience you as being a bit disconnected and aloof, maybe even uncaring. Now, as I said, we all experience all of these gateways. We are constantly moving back and forth from one to another. But what are some circumstances in which you experience level 7 energy? How does level 7 energy show up for you? And what would be the benefit to you of increasing your level 7 energy? If increasing anabolic energy is something that you would like to do in your life, well, the only thing you really need to do is simply decrease the catabolic energy. Physics has told us that energy can be neither created nor destroyed, only transformed. And so by transforming the catabolic energy, it automatically becomes anabolic. Now, since all 6 of the first gateways contain at least some catabolic energy, all we need to do is figure out how that shows up in our life. And the Energy Leadership Index assessment, that tool that I had been talking about before, is fabulous at helping us see exactly how that catabolic energy shows up. And in the very final video in this episode, I will be talking more about that assessment and how it works. But if you are interested in seeing your results now, you can take that assessment online immediately. All you need to do is click the link that is provided with this video. So, that's the 7th gateway. In the next video, we will take a broader look at all of these gateways together, how they shape and inform our experience of the world and the experiences of those around us. I look forward to seeing you then.